Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm gonna take you on a tour of the Castro Valley Marketplace and explore some of the merchants that's in there. Hey, my name's Mac Rogers. I'm a local real estate broker here in Castro Valley. Thanks for tuning in. If you followed the channel, I've already created a video on the Castro Valley Marketplace last year. This was when it first opened back in 2020, right smack during the beginning of the lockdown. At that time, many of the businesses weren't open yet, so I thought it would be nice to come back and check out what's going on after a year being open. So let's go check it out. Before going inside, let me briefly give you what I know about the building that used to be called the Daughtrey building. If you want to get more detail about it, you can also check out the Castro Valley Today website. I will put a link in the description below. They go through the history of the Daughtrey building. For the longest time since we moved here, the Daughtrey building stood empty. We moved here back in 2001. I never really gave it much thought passing by. I wouldn't say it was an eyesore, but it certainly could use an improvement. I mainly remember it as a spirit store. During Halloween, it would pop up or open up and our kids would always drag us there to check out their costumes. Other than that, I don't recall any other use that I have seen since we moved here. From what I could remember, I was told that it was once a billiard hall before it closed down. It's called the Daughtrey building because it's named after the previous owner of the place. It was originally a department store. The owner, Keller Daughtrey, used to work for JCPenney before venturing out and opening his own little department store that basically competed with the likes of Penny, Sears, etc. It's hard to imagine nowadays walking into a store and having a conversation with the salesperson and asking them different questions and getting their expertise on a particular product or products that we're interested in. That's what we have the internet for, right? Information at our fingertips. Back then, there was no internet. How did they survive, right? As a shopper, you had to rely on the sales associate to provide you the information you needed. As a matter of fact, becoming a sales associate at Daughtrey's was a career back then. It's not like today wherein a lot of people use retail sales as a starting or a jumping point to start their work life. Daughtrey's was successful and popular with Castro Valley residents. Imagine small town America, Main Street, having your own department store. If you think about it, kind of like the Waltons of Walmart, how they started back in Arkansas. Things started going down when malls became popular. It became the place to be in. So like many small town businesses all across America, Daughtrey's business gradually declined and soon thereafter had to close its doors. The building sat empty for decades, and as I have mentioned earlier, it became a billiard hall, and when it closed down, a seasonal Halloween store. If you want to know more about the timeline of what happened between when the building was sold and the lead up to the development of the marketplace, I will put a link in the description to the castrovalleymatters.org website. They have a nice summary outline that shows the timeline from 1991 to 2020. Now let's check out some of the merchants inside. Let's first look at Baron's Meat. Baron's Meat started in 2005 by Chef David Samijan. His inspiration comes from his great-grandfather. They ran a family butcher store in Brooklyn called Baron's Meat and Poultry. David's passion for quality food and local service started there. He spent much of his formative years in the shop. David opened up, or as they call it, relaunched Baron's Meat and Poultry in the Alameda Marketplace. The mantra or the basic tenet of the shop is to offer only the highest quality and best tasting, sustainably sourced meat and poultry to their clients and their families. In 2016, he added a second location in San Francisco's Snowy Valley neighborhood. Baron's Meat and Poultry is dedicated to providing meat that is highest quality, best flavor, adhere to the strictest levels of safety, and has been raised humanely with little impact to the environment. No hormones, no antibiotic, human-grade vegetarian feed, no meat byproducts, feathers, textile scraps, or any other additives humans would not eat themselves. Humanely treated, pasture-raised when possible with minimal impact to the land, fed an organic diet when possible, and GMO-free when available. They also have aged beef right there at the store. I love aged beef. So if you want to try it out, you can buy the meat and they age it for you, and when it's ready, they also butcher it for you. You should try one of their signature products like the Black Dragon Marinated Tri-Tip. They have a very secret ingredient. And you should also try the house recipe sausages made entirely by hand. If you haven't tried quality meats, meaning meats that don't come from, for a lack of better description, meat factories, you're missing half of your life. At least that's how one of my friends described it. There's a certain flavor profile that you can tell right off the bat. The best way that I can describe it is that there's a clean taste to it. I know clean is not a word to describe taste, but that is the word that comes to me. If you want to know more about Baron's Meats, I'll put a link in the description to their website. I think this is a good segue to our next shop, which is the Oaktown Spy Shop. I gotta be honest with you here. I didn't know much about the Spy Shop before this video. I just figured they were some specialty store that offered a selection of high quality spices. What I didn't know was that it's named as one of the world's best spy shops by Food and Wine magazine. Imagine that, right in our own backyard. Oaktown Spy Shop offers the freshest, most delicious, high-quality spices and hand-mixed spice blends in the Bay Area. They have 3 locations in the East Bay, one in Oakland, one in Albany, and this one in Castro Valley. You're probably thinking, what could be more exciting than spices, right? If you're like me, growing up, all I knew were salt and pepper. No, not that salt and pepper. John Beaver, one of the owners, describes how he developed a fascination with spices early on. Back when he was in high school in Milwaukee, he and his mother visited the Spice House, a local family-run spice shop in the city's historic downtown. The owner of the Spice House sensed John's curiosity and offered him a job. He worked there for the next several years. He learned about spices. It intrigued him. He was curious about where the spices came from, the history, and all that goes with it. John also became intimately familiar with the properties of each spice. John quickly learned the difference between high-quality whole spices, bursting with flavor, plumped in shape, and vibrant in color, and their inferior counterparts. Grinding spices in the mill every day also taught him the advantage of freshly ground spices. Grocery store spices ground years before were paltry substitutes for freshly ground stuff. Fast forward to 2009, John Beaver and Erica Perez moved to Oakland, right smack in the middle of foodie culture, a place where people placed immense value on food. But they felt that there was something missing. One day while walking around Lake Merritt, John suggested that maybe they can open up a spice shop. Erica loved the idea and convinced John it was a true calling and not just a moment's whim. So that was the beginning of the Oaktown Spy Shop. They opened up in 2011. John worked full-time at the shop while Erica kept her journalism job and helped on nights and weekends. In that first year, John was the sole employee in the shop, most of the time grinding spices in the back and running out to the front at the sound of the doorbell. Fast forward again to 2020 and voila, we have one of the world's best spice shops right here in our town. How cool is that, right? So we have meat, we have spices. Let's move on to carbs. Seven Hills Bakery. The proprietor and head baker of Seven Hills Bakery, Julian Wagner, was born in Paris. To me, that's all I needed to know. Parisian and pastries. Okay, there's a little bit more story. At an early age, he knew that he belonged in the kitchen. At the tender age of 14, he was apprenticing in local restaurants. Come on now, what were you doing when you were 14? Me? Probably didn't even know what a croissant from a baguette, let alone apprenticing for some job. Not him. Since 1995, he has worked in some of the best kitchens in Boston, LA, and San Francisco. He then started focusing on baking. He has since been on the path of continued learning and teaching, connecting and sharing the knowledge with the community and fellow bakers. He's particularly passionate about discovering and mastering global baking traditions. Their croissants are spot on, one of the best outside the streets of Paris. In fact, I love all their pastries and bread. Another gem right here in our sleepy former chicken coop place that still a lot of people in the peninsula don't know about. Since we're talking about bread, let's move on to olive oil. Again, full disclosure, I never really cared much for olive oil before. I figured oil is oil, whether it's from olive, canola, whatever, right? Until one trip that we had to the south of Spain. My wife arranged an olive oil factory tour. One factory, okay? Now, being the amazing husband that I am, of course I was excited. Driving more than an hour in 95 to 100-degree heat in a packed van that the AC seems to be barely working, we get there and it's like a warehouse. Nothing to see. Again, nice husband. I was smiling the whole time. Had to sit down and watch a video, fell asleep, I can barely understand. I think it was even on VHS. I only started getting interested when I heard that the guy that was serving us was the owner or son of the owner, and they have been there for 3 centuries. How cool is that? I love hearing things like this. I love history. So to make a long story short, I tried their olive oils and boom, I was hooked. 4 years later, even my daughters are still talking about the oil. We bought a bunch of them and had it shipped stateside, but we ran out. So when Amphora opened up at the marketplace, I was dying to try it. And boy, it did not disappoint. The selection of olive oils that they carry are carefully selected, and each variety represents an incredible story and lends a gastronomic experience. Their balsamic vinegar blends are another story, and their concoctions scream of their passion for their craft. Carol helped us with their olive oil tasting, and man oh man, we ended up with several bottles of olive oils and vinegar. I'm like drinking this stuff. Amphora was started by Nate Bradley and his sister Claire back in 2010. Here's a fun fact for you. Nate grew up in Castro Valley and actually was once a substitute teacher in the Castro Valley School District. Now talk about being local. They have 3 locations in the East Bay. The first one is in Berkeley across from the Claremont Hotel, the second in Lafayette, and the third here at the marketplace. Just like John of Oaktown Spy Shop and Julian of Seven Hills Bakery, Nate and his sister got an early start with olive oils. In fact, they were born into it. Their family has been in the olive oil industry for close to 100 years. They are based out of Oakland, and they're considered the oldest continuously family-owned and operated olive oil company in the US. You can say that olive oil is running in their vein. Amphora is definitely a must-try even if you don't care for olive oil. You'll probably change your mind after. They feature the freshest, highest quality olive oils and balsamic vinegars on tap from all over the world. Now, those 4 shops that I mentioned are all located, by the front of the Castro Valley Marketplace. Those places alone should make your trip worthwhile. In fact, I can stop here. Come on, what else do you need? You got bread, you got meat, you got spices, and olive oil. That's it. But wait, there's more. If you like sushi, who doesn't like sushi? There's Akami Sushi. Akami Sushi is not new to the East Bay. In fact, they have 3 other locations beside the one in the marketplace. Azora in Danville, Akami in Berkeley, and Kakui Sushi at the Oakland Hill. Pretty much everything that we've tried there has been really good. So this is another must try. Although, I do have a bone to pick with Akami. One time we were there, I asked for water and they wouldn't give me any. I don't know, is that a thing right now? Did it have anything to do with COVID? Anyway, moving on. Next up, if you like beer, again, who doesn't like beer? There's the Cannery Kitchen and Tap. They have a good selection of beers on tap, but not too overwhelming. I hate those places where they have a gazillion selections and you are left to fend for yourselves. They have a wide enough variety that you can find one that you want. Try one, try them all. You gotta be 21 and over. They also have wines, by the way. Food-wise, it's more diner or American type food. Try their brown sugar smoked brisket. And if you're a vegan, try their brown sugar smoked brisket. 2 places that I haven't tried or been to yet are Cordial, Cellar and Lounge, and Night Owl. With Cordial, Cellar and Lounge, I just haven't had the time to check it out yet, but I will check it out. Night Owl, on the other hand, is still closed. I will put a link in the description below if you want to know more about these 2 places. But for sure, like I said, I will be visiting those places. Then there's the Castro Valley Green Grocery. I call it mini Whole Foods. They probably wouldn't like that. Castro Valley Natural Grocery stocks locally sourced foods, 100% organic produce, green household goods, natural supplements, and more. See, there you go. If you're vegan, there's something for you in the marketplace. Try their brown sugar smoked brisket. If you've ever been to the Alameda Marketplace, they have the Alameda Natural Grocery. Same concept here. They got beehives on the rooftop in Castro Valley that produce a special local blend of honey, just as they do in Alameda. Finally, there are also pop-ups like Farm Curious and Popout Kitchen. Farm Curious is a company designed to educate, inspire, and equip urban homesteaders with an interest in producing their own food, reducing their ecological footprint, and eating seasonally and sustainably without abandoning their urban lifestyle. That means you don't have to go to the mountains. Farm Curious teaches high-end culinary classes focused on traditional cooking skills such as cheese making, fermenting, and charcuterie. I just love saying that word, charcuterie. Every now and again, they do something out of the ordinary like mushroom cultivation, gray water installation, or backyard chickens. Live and in-person classes can be found, in their Berkeley location, and of course also in the Castro Valley Marketplace. Popout Kitchen is a pop-up restaurant space and event venue on the mezzanine level of the Castro Valley Marketplace. Popout Kitchen also offers kitchen facilities, dining space, demo kitchen, and digital media for instructors and event staffing. Everything for chefs and makers to shine. I suggest checking out the calendar of events for Farm Curious and Pop-Up Kitchen if you want to know what's going on. Again, link in the description below. There's also a plant store right next to Akami. I believe it's also a pop-up store, a garden pop-up store where you can buy healthy succulents, air plants, and orchids, as well as all types of planters for indoor and outdoor. Now for the vegan people, there's Tomato. It's a salad bar. Tomato is now open in the Castro Valley Marketplace. They are serving up pre-packaged sandwiches, salads, roasted chickens, hot soup, and custom crafted salad from the same people who brought you Castro Valley and Alameda Natural Grocery, and that means they have the same superior quality assurances for you. Tomato uses only 100% organic produce, humanely raised, nitrate-free, ethical meat, eggs, cheese, and dairy. In short, the cleanest, freshest, healthiest, and most sustainably produced food you'll ever find in Castro Valley. Kinda like vegan, but not really. So, that is Castro Valley Marketplace in a nutshell. It's not big, but it does offer something for everyone, even vegans. And it's really exciting if you ask me. You should come and check it out. I'll see you in my next video, or better yet, at the Castro Valley Marketplace. Have a great day.